Move. Now get out since you have asked me. Get out for looking at her walking. Bye. Get out for coughing.
Hey, thanks for having me over. Oh, sorry about that. I can't silence it for emergencies. Hey, give me 1 second. Where, Mom? I'm just with a friend. I'll be back by 6 p.m. top. Who is it? Shannon from chem class. We're studying for a chem test next week. Yes, I'll send you her parents' contact info. Love you, Mom. Bye. Shannon, I gave you my parents' number. If she calls you, pretend to be your mom and say I'm studying with you for chemistry. Sorry about that. Where were we? You want me to come to your baseball game? What time is it? 9 p.m. on a Friday? Yeah, no, sorry. I can't make that.
Strict parents would get mad over one tiny thing and you'd be sitting there like, bro, do you know what other kids my age were doing? People were vaping, drinking, sneaking out, getting arrested, doing dumb that gave their parents real problems. And you came home 1 minute late. 1 minute late. And now they're acting like you're some horrible kid. Like, bro, compared to half these kids, you were an angel. You didn't even do nothing for real. You just stayed in your room and got yelled at anyway. But parents would act like you just committed a federal crime. And the crazy part is, if they saw what some kids were actually doing, they would have been thanking God you were only mildly annoying. But no, somehow you were still the problem.
This is the fit my mom picked out for school today. It's not that bad, but we can do better. Bye, Mom! The school bus is coming in 10 minutes, so I have to change or all the kids at school will make fun of me. First, we have to get out of these clothes because I have to leave them buried in the garden. My mom's not picking me up after school like she usually does, so I can change after I get home. I've collected makeup over the years. I keep it hidden in a tree, and I use it when she's not around. I don't have a lot of products, so I have to use this lip balm as my blush. My mom has never caught me before. Like, she sticks to her schedule, but if she walked outside and caught me, I'd be shipped off to boarding school. But not the fun kind. My mom doesn't let me cut my hair. This has been growing out since I was 7. Sometimes my neighbor lets me ship accessories to her, and she leaves it in the yard, which is so nice. I want to add in a hair charm. This still looks so goody two-shoes, so I'm gonna make it into a mini skirt. Pull a skirt up to the waist. Okay, this would be kind of cute. I see the bus coming and I've never missed class, so I have to go. This is the final look for now. I'll fix things at school.
I always get asked this question. How did you get your parents to agree? How did they allow you? How did you convince them? And the answer is, I didn't. I would just tell them what I was doing and then I would go do it. If I waited for them to agree with my choices, then I would have never done half the shit that I've done. My parents were pretty conservative and had a hard time stepping out of their comfort zone. So the only way to really convince them was by doing the thing and showing them that everything was going to be okay. I was lucky to have parents that eventually always came around. And I'm grateful because I know not all parents are like that. Don't get me wrong though, it would take them a while to get around to it, sometimes even years. And those were some rough times that really took a toll on my mental health. Lots of fighting, depression, anxiety, feeling like the black sheep, the disappointment. I felt guilty and constantly doubted my choices. But I reminded myself that my choices weren't harmful, they just weren't traditional. And I can either be comfortable now but look back at a life full of regret, or be uncomfortable now and look back at a life with no regrets. And I ask myself that often, will I regret this? Because regret's one of those emotions that creeps up on you later, and it's a hard pill to swallow. Now, I'm not saying don't listen to your parents ever, because they do have good advice sometimes. I'm just saying don't live in fear of them, especially if what you're doing isn't harmful.
Hi, I'm Samantha, and I grew up educationally neglected as a child. So I grew up with a pretty strict dad, and he would travel a lot. And when he would travel, he would be gone for a couple weeks. And my mom was a really chill parent. She worked a lot, so, you know, we had to be home by ourselves. And if we needed anything, we would just call her. And, like, if we needed to confide in her, she was always there. My dad, on the other hand, was very strict, very temperamental. And he didn't really want us to eat any sugars, processed sugars like milk. Always told us that soda gave you cancer, and then would be drinking soda. And we're like, what? You just said it would give us cancer. So he would leave, and my mom would take us, and we would go get cereal because we all love cereal, and we never had it very often. So we would go get bags of that, and then we would eat it while my dad was gone for a couple weeks, and then we would make sure it'd be all gone before he got back. And we also had to make sure that the house was completely clean before he got home, because, again, he was very temperamental. And then, since my mom was working all the time and my dad was gone, we all just kind of, like, did our own things. And so my dad would come back, and we would be doing our own things. Like, I would be leaving to go hang out with my friends, and he would be like, where are you going? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. Mom said I could. well, mom's at work, so I'm here. Like, you have to ask me now. And I'm just like, okay, can I go hang out with my friends? And he'd be like, no, you have to stay home. For absolutely no reason, you have to stay home. And I'm just like, gosh, okay. And then I feel like he would just forget he had kids. And so if we were like home, the best thing to do is just to like hide downstairs, because if you get seen, then you get remembered, and if you get remembered, then you can get like pulled out to do chores or like go up to the mountain with him and do some manual labor for the farm or whatever. So the best thing to do is just like hide and to be quiet so you don't get remembered that you're downstairs.
Ways that my Russian mother raised me that would send American mothers into a coma, and that I absolutely love her for, but hated back then. I did not watch any American television until about the age of 14, when I snuck onto the TV and watched some Disney, Nickelodeon, whatever it was, and then was immediately punished for it. I watched mainly Russian cartoons, movies, TV shows, and honestly, I'm so grateful that my mother did that, because I'm so much more cultured in these things, and my brain wasn't rotted with the American television that we had growing up. Number 2, we had this much processed food in the house. Everything was whole foods or just general ingredients, and almost everything was made from scratch. My mother was an amazing, amazing cook, and still is, and has passed that down on to me. And now I cook all the time, like every single day, lunch and dinner. I just don't eat breakfast. Number 3, this is the only one that I actually don't like and disagree with my mother still on, but she never, ever, ever let me have my hair down. For context, my hair was literally down to my knees. I'll insert a picture here if I can find it, but it was down to my knees. And something about that was horrifying to my mother to be out in public, so she always made me wear a ponytail, and now I feel like I have a ginormous forehead because of it. I don't know, I like my forehead, but y'all always make fun of my megamind forehead, and I feel like it's because I always wore a really tight ponytail. So that is the one thing I disagree with my mother on. Number 4, and this I really agree with her on, I rarely had sleepovers and play dates. I had one really good friend at a time. I think I had a total of 3 really good friends over my childhood, and it was always separate, and sleepovers were almost non-existent. I think I had a total of 10 sleepovers my entire childhood. Unless my mom vetted these parents back and forth and knew them like the back of her hand, I was not going over to their house. We could stay over at my house and hang out over at my house, but again, not too often. I grew up in a very closed house, and if you haven't heard of open house versus closed houses, look into it, but mine was a very closed house. And honestly, there are pros and cons to this. It's a lot harder for me to socialize nowadays because I didn't really have a social life growing up, but I think that's also just me as a person. And last one, she did not listen to my complaints in the best way. I grew up with her paying for piano lessons, saxophone lessons, trumpet lessons, absolutely every kind of musical instrument under the sun. And I constantly complained that I didn't want to do it, that I was getting tired, that I was getting annoyed with the instrument, and she never let me quit it. And honestly, I wish she didn't let me quit it when I hit 16, 17 years old, because I would still be playing these instruments now. I can still play piano, saxophone is a little bit iffy, trumpet, absolutely not, violin, absolutely not. She never gave a damn about what I said if I was complaining about it too much, until I was about 16, and then I could have my own thoughts, and then she let me change my mind. I will be the strictest parent growing up. And yes, I think strict parents do create sneaky kids, but if you do it correctly, they make pretty good ones. I mean, look at me.
It was never a phase, Mom. You just raised a daughter who's a shopaholic and doesn't know how to save money.
Someone made a comment on my video and was like, you didn't have a phone your senior year of high school? No, I didn't. And I didn't even realize how odd that was until recently. Now I'm going to tell you all the rules my strict parents had for me in high school would send any other teenager into a coma. The first one was the phone. I did not have a real phone until my senior year, and it was after Christmas. I had a kid's phone for a while that had like no internet browser. I literally just had a camera and texting and calling, and that was it. And mind you, before that, I literally had a flip phone. Another rule was I couldn't play any online games, so me and my brother were never allowed to play stuff like Fortnite, Roblox, anything that you could be online with other people, even if you can't talk, we could not play. I also wasn't allowed to watch YouTube, which I kind of understand a little bit, but at the same time, like, we got YouTube Kids, and even then my mom banned YouTube Kids. Obviously, I wasn't allowed to have any like social media or anything, but I also was not allowed to like go on anyone's phone. Like, my cousins had a phone before me, and if she ever saw me like looking at something on their phone, if they were trying to show me if we were doing anything on their phone, like I would get in trouble. Another one I hated was I couldn't have Spotify. I wasn't allowed to listen to like much music at all, unless it was on the radio, which usually she would skip songs that she thought were like super bad. But yeah, no Spotify. I obviously had no Apple Music because I didn't have a real phone. And then I couldn't really look up music on YouTube because I wasn't allowed on YouTube. So I wasn't allowed to go to any school dances until I was a junior in high school. And then obviously I wasn't allowed to say any like curse words or anything, but there were also other words that I wasn't allowed to say that were like, it was hard to follow all the rules because there were so many. Some of the words I couldn't say were like butt, like your butt, like don't sit on your butt. Like I wasn't allowed to say butt, B-U-T-T. I had to use like behind or like bottom or something. Other ones were like dumb, stupid, idiot, crap, like anything like remotely bad I wasn't allowed to say. For a long time I wasn't allowed to wear crop tops, which thank God I am now because I wear them all the time. I almost forgot I wasn't allowed to wear makeup either for a long time. I wasn't allowed to actually start wearing a lot of makeup until junior year. No, I didn't start wearing a lot of makeup until senior year, but I think I was like not allowed to until I was a junior. Another thing is watching things. I was not really allowed to watch a whole lot as a kid. It had to be like approved by my mom, no matter what it was, movie, show. If she didn't like it, she also didn't have to have a reason to say like you can't watch that anymore. She also only let me have sleepovers with family, friends, or family, but I feel like that's pretty normal for a lot of people. A random one is I wasn't allowed to have gum until I was in like 4th grade, and I had a big birthday party celebrating that I could eat chewing gum. That was a weird one. But I also was not allowed to have any caffeine. Even when I was a senior and I went to Dutch Bros, she would expect me to get something that was non-caffeinated. I almost forgot, I wasn't allowed to drive. Hello? I wasn't allowed to drive until I was like 17. I wasn't allowed to even learn until I was 17. And then I learned, I went and I did the driving school at 17. I took my test. I got my driver's license and everything at 18. So yeah, sometimes I feel like I've developed a bit slower than the rest of my peers because I do feel like I've been pretty sheltered with everything. We're learning. Now I'm in college and I basically just do whatever any other adult can do. Especially now that I'm 21, I feel like life is so different from when I was a high school teenager, so thank you.
You really got to be careful if you're a strict parent because typically only one or two endings come out of this. Either A, the very rare one, right? Your kid actually listens to everything you say, right? They're never doing this or that. Or 2, they're being sneaky whole time, right? They're doing this and that. They get a little taste of freedom and they're gone. But then there's a third option that nobody talks about that I got to see firsthand with my younger cousin. So I'm at my younger cousin's basketball game, right? It's his last one of the season. And I'm in the stands talking with his parents, right? And I'm hearing some very interesting things from them. I'm like, yeah, so this is his last game. He's almost done with season, almost done with school. Like, that's awesome, right? First year going great. They're like, yeah, he's been doing really well in his classes. But as soon as this basketball season ends, we're putting him right to work. So what do you mean? They're like, well, he wasn't able to have a job while he played basketball in school, but once that's over, he's getting a job immediately, and I want him to work as many hours as he can because we're not helping him out this summer. Oh, right? That's crazy, right? They got like 5 jobs that they already have that he has to do one of them, right? I'm like, is he even interested in any of these? Then they go, a job's a job. He doesn't need to like it. He just needs to be good at it, and that's what he's going to be. This is a military, this is a boot camp. What's going on with y'all? So we continue watching the game. After the game, I go up to my cousin, Spencer. I'm like, hey, great game. You played so good. He's like, thanks. Hugs his parents, whatever. Right? I'm like, so we all going to go out to eat? His parents are like, we got to go back, but it would probably be great for you and Spencer to grab something. I'm like, okay, Spencer, you down? He's like, yeah. So me and Spencer go out to eat, and I learn a lot, okay? I learned some stuff I never even heard from either side. So we're out to eat, right? We just go grab some Chili's. I get the triple dipper and absolutely tear that up, right? Spencer does the same thing. So we're chatting, right? We're talking about basketball school, how it's going. You know, is he talking to anybody? Whoop-de-whoop. And I'm like, so, your parents, they showed me some jobs that you're supposed to be doing once your season's over, right? Like, pretty much now. He's like, oh my gosh, they showed you the list? Yeah, I'm not doing any of that. I said, oh, really? Your parents don't seem to agree with that. He's like, nah, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't really even have that many classes. Like, I'm traveling. You're doing what? He's like, yeah, I'm traveling. Like, I'm going to work here and there. Like, I'm going to just do, like, waiter, serving, bartending, stuff like that to make some good money. But, yeah, I'm not doing that. So have you told your parents about it? He's like, no, and I'm not going to. Valid. I mean, at this point, what are you, 18, 19? They don't really have any say. But I tell them, good luck with that. 2 weeks go by, right? I'm friends with him on Instagram. I look at he has an Instagram story. This man never posts. I click it. Gorgeous, beautiful water, right? He's at some type of beach. Definitely not where he goes to college. There ain't no beaches around, right? He's at a beach, right? It's him. I can see some other guys with him. And, right, he's taking pictures in his hotel, right? They're taking pictures in, like, a convertible. I stopped on the story. I'm like, bro, where you at? He's like, I told you I'm traveling, right? I said, oh, do your parents know you're gone? He's like, I don't know. Awesome, okay? And speak of the devil, next day, I get a call from Spencer's mom. She goes, hey, Lala, what are you up to? I said, nothing, just chilling. She's like, oh, that's interesting. What did you and Spencer talk about when you were just out to eat? Because I see he's on a different path now. I said, what? She's yapping my ear off, talking about I must have said something crazy to Spencer, right? Because he doesn't want to do anything they say anymore. They see that he's on this random trip. I'm like, bro, I ain't got nothing to do with that. He told me this, right? So we chat for a little bit longer. They're like, you need to talk to him. You need to settle this, blah, 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 blah. Like, he needs to get one of these jobs by the end of the month. I'm like, okay, right? Just end the conversation. I hang up the phone, right? I go text Spencer and I'm like, hey, I need to talk to you after your trip. He just sends, okay, right? I'm not trying to bother him on his trip. He gets back, right? And he's in town. His college is really not that far. So we meet up again. And I'm telling him, I'm like, bro, your parents think I changed your mind. They're thinking all this. He's like, yo, that's crazy. I'm going to call him and tell him it had nothing to do with that. Like, blah, 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 blah. I said, so you're going to get that job at the end of the month, right? One of the ones that they want. He said, nah, I'm not even going to be here. So what do you mean you're not going to be here? He's like, I already got another trip planned. I said, hold on. Besides the trip and the job, how are you making such good money to be going on all these trips, right? Did you not just start your, like, server job? He's like, yeah, I did just start it. I said, you doing anything else? He's like, nah. Now I'm getting a little sus, right? Because you're going to gorgeous places, staying in nice hotels. Y'all ain't getting no cheap Airbnbs or some, like, garbage little Motel 6s. No, y'all are staying at Hyatt's. What's it called? Oh, that one. I don't know. But he's staying at some nice hotels. Westin, that's what I was thinking of. Some pretty decent spots, like, on the beach. And last time I saw y'all was in a Corvette. Either you talking to older people that got money, or you might be doing some weird stuff on the side, right? I gotta find it out. That's what I'm gonna do. But best believe I find out exactly what's going on, and it's not what I expected. So he goes on his other trip, right? Posted again, gorgeous, cool, whatever. Okay? His parents are texting me back and forth. They're freaking out, right? Spencer's never disobeyed them or gone off the path. All of this, right? So I don't see Spencer now for a while, okay? Until graduation, okay? Obviously, he didn't graduate. He's only a freshman. So graduation, he goes to graduation, right? And after that, he's done with school. So we all meet up, right? We do a little, like, dinner with the fam, his fam, my fam, other fam, some of his friends, all a little celebratory freshman thing, right? Basketball team's there. And I hear some other people chatting to Spencer, like, bro, you're going on all these trips. Where else are you going this summer? Like, I know your parents paid for that, huh? I hear him say, my parents, you think they'd let me go on these trips? Absolutely not. This is all my money. Like, I'm straight. Interesting, right? I ask his parents, I'm like, well, he must be making pretty good money at his job for him to be traveling like this, right? Can't be mad at that. They tell me, like, well, little do you know, he got fired 2 weeks ago. I said, what? They're like, yeah, he doesn't work there anymore. Interesting. Very interesting. So I go to Spencer when he's free, and I'm like, hey, I said, you still working that serving job? He's like, nah. I said, why not? He's like, wasn't really feeling it. I quit. I'm going to work at a higher end restaurant. I said, oh, you didn't get fired? He's like, no. Why would I get fired? Who told you I got fired? I was like, oh, your parents said that you got fired. He's like, nah. I don't know why they'd even say that. I'm like, yeah, I really don't know. But like, how are you gonna, keep affording these trips? He's like, bruh, I got a plug. Don't worry. You got a plug? That don't sound right. So what do you mean you got a plug? He's like, bro, it's not even what you're thinking. I said, so what is it then? He's like, hold on. Pulls out his phone. At this point, I have no idea what he's about to show me. He clicks this orange app, shows me all the recent trips he's been on, the prices of the trips, right? Some of the rental cars he's gotten, the flights. I grab his phone, I'm looking at it. Like, 175 round trip. 190 a night at this hotel? That is crazy cheap, right? I'm looking at some of the activities he does, the cars he's getting for the price. I'm like, bro, you're literally traveling practically for free, right? With these prices and this economy, that's crazy. He's like, yeah, I know. I said, so how are you finding this? He's like, bro, on this app called Hopper. Like, I wouldn't be able to travel, like, if I didn't go through here. Like, you should see the original price of this stuff. Like, I only use this. I was like, so this is how you be doing it? He's like, yeah, like, my parents are tweaking, and clearly you are too. I said, no, I just wanted to double check, right? I said, I'm trying to travel too, though. Send me the link for that. Low key. He's like, okay, I got you. Sends me the link for this Hopper app. I go on, right? I do have a trip that I want to plan soon, right? I want to go to Colorado in the summertime. Chill. I look up a flight to Colorado, right? All the ones I've been seeing are like $350, right? $350 to Denver. I see one for $270. I'm thinking, you know what? Call me Spencer, because I'm about to be the next one out here traveling for free.